Good morning, guys, and welcome to the Morning Drive. Nice little talk show where I pretty much talk to my phone while I drive to work. Usually takes about anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the traffic. Basically what I do is I read your comments from yesterday's, I forgot what yesterday meant, yesterday's video, and try to answer them the best I can. Sorry, I'm freezing. It's really, really cold out. So, first off, happy Thursday. Oh, it's cold. That's really cold. So, just gonna get right into it because I have a car stop right in front of me. First comment I have, again from Tabletop Banter. Oh boy, I bet it stays like that. You're happy to be at Mini Wargaming now? Haha, thanks for responding thusly. If you ran full-time Mini Wargaming channel on your own, what would you use for your experience at Mini Wargaming, and what would you do differently? Well, first off, no problem. I enjoy answering your comments. Tabletop Banter. They're very, very good. And yes, I'm much, much happier now not having to sell vacuums. I think anybody would. If I ran my own channel, I have no idea. Mini Wargaming has actually run really, really well. Like, I've worked for quite a few companies at this point now, and a lot of them are all over the place. Like, I've worked for Toys R Us, I've worked for Future Shop, I've worked for, like, these are all retail stores, and they ran terribly. The management had no idea what the employees were doing, or they were trying really, really hard to like micromanage all of their employees. Schedules were all over the place. Information was incorrect. Customers were not happy. Like a lot of these stores, like, you know, for example, Toys R Us has been around for, in my area, almost 30 years, and it's not very well run at all. I'm amazed it's still open. And the Future Shop in our area actually closed down. Now that's probably because of it. All the Future Shops closing down because they got bought out, I think. Off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure they got bought out. But still, they weren't run very, very well. I think it's just because they were all part of a bigger system that they're still in business. That's the only thing I can possibly think of. If I had to take anything that I've learned so far from Mini Wargaming, it's just consistency. Make sure that you're always putting out content, which is why I'm trying to do this little video daily. But that's about all I can think of, is just making sure that you do everything consistently. Things I would do differently, I would probably try and run a few more games. Like, I'd probably try and cover Malifaux and Relic Knights and things like that. But I can understand why Matt and Dave don't want to do that. But that's probably the only thing I could possibly think of, is that I would try and run a couple more games like that. But it's the only thing that really comes to mind. Next comment I have here. This is good. I'm actually catching them as I catch every red light. Ah. Ooh. And I lost my comments. No. Okay, guys, I'm really sorry. All of my comments just disappeared. I don't have a internet connection on my iPad, so what I kind of do is before I leave, I load up all the comments and then head out. And for some reason, my iPad just decided to refresh all the comments and tell me that it doesn't have a connection anymore, so I can't pull any of them up. So what I will do is, I did read the comments before I left this morning, so I know a couple of them. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see your names. Sorry. You'll know who you are just by reading the comments from yesterday's video. One of them that I remember is, I have Malifaux models on my shelf, but why is that there with the way Matt and Dave feel about Malifaux? And that's pretty straightforward. Matt and Dave don't really get too upset about the models that we have in the office. It's more just so long as we don't either have inappropriate models, like any that are revealing or just overly sexualized. And if that's, as long as those aren't there, they don't really care what we kind of put on our shelves. We can put any models that we like, because it's kind of our shelves. So you're probably not going to see any like Kingdom Death type stuff up there, because that's kind of a very overly sexualized, overly, it's a bunch of pinup models basically, and that's a little over the edge. But Malifaux, in my opinion, isn't that over the top. Like, obviously the lore wise and things like that, and some of the models are, yeah, those are questionable, but the ones I have on my desk, I have like Lord Chompy Bits, who in all honesty kind of looks like a demon prince. I have the Dreamer, who is just a little kid, And then yeah, I do have that one box set, and actually I got that from Steve. That was a mutual trade. He got a couple miniatures from me, and I got those because I like the Robo Spiders and things like that. And he just gave me the full box set for them, so I was like, sweet, score. So yeah, that's how I have those on my, wow, sorry, camera shaking. That's why I have those on my shelf. But no, you probably won't see them in any games or anything like that. Those are just my personal collection that I like to have in the office. Another comment that I remember was somebody asked me, with all of the 40K and 30K that we paint there, do we ever have any models that we just kind of paint for fun, just to kind of break up the monotony and try and combat painter's block? Yeah, I do. One of my personal favorite ones that I've kind of gotten into at this point is Relic Knights. Their miniatures they're good. Their mold lines are a little harsh. So it's really difficult to kind of clean those up. But once you get past that and just look at the actual aesthetics of the model, it's very, very fun to paint them, because you almost can't paint them wrong, in the sense that they have a very anime, very bright color aesthetic to them. So if you want to paint them all with just solid colors and not do any highlights or any shading, or you just want to put paint on a model, you can, and the model will look good. But if you want to go that extra little bit and do the shading, do the highlights, do all the little details, you want to throw some glazes in there, you want to throw a couple of color transitions, makes the model look even better. But it's just kind of fun because it's almost like a coloring book type model, where it's just, you can pretty much just paint them. They'll look good when you're done, but it doesn't matter because they look good regardless. So I do enjoy that. I have the Speed Circuit starter set. I haven't painted that one yet, because before I got into painting that, one of our guests actually got me the it's like the void color, where it's all like the black or rainbow set, I guess. I'm assuming they're just like special characters that you can put with anybody, because I haven't actually got a chance to play the game very much. I just played one test game with my starter box, and I didn't really build much of a list. It was just bring the models in the starter box. So, but he got me the I completely forgot her name now, but basically she's like the Robo Angel floating on the cloud. So had a lot of fun painting her, and what I thought was really neat was that her color scheme is actually a lot of really bright pinks, and it's not a color you get to paint like on everything very often, like unless you do Noise Marines, which are mostly purple and pink. You're not going to get to do a lot of pinks on things, or unless you're going to do pink horrors, but then again, those are primarily pink. You don't really get to play around with the colors as much. But this one was fun because it was just different shades of pink and transitions to purples, and throwing all of them together to make this really interesting model. And I had a lot of fun with it. So what I ended up doing was I got the Harrower, who is a giant robot. Take the Grim Reaper and mix him with a Dread Knight, and you get this model. It's basically a dude standing on top of a like robot version of himself with a giant scythe, and I'm like, this is awesome and really fun to paint. And what was also nice about it was that it came with like a little companion guy, and the little companion was like a half-an-inch tall Grim Reaper, and I was like, this is awesome. So I painted the Grim Reaper first because it didn't take much, but I enjoyed doing that. Now I'm working on the Harrower, and it's just something that I kind of fill in my time with. One comment that I got this morning, just kind of popped up in my email, was, am I going to be getting Dynet for Alpha Legion? Yes I am. We ordered him about a week ago from Forge World, so we should hopefully be seeing him in the mail sometime in the next, either today or tomorrow, or sometime next week. So that should be exciting, and I'm actually really stoked to start using him, because he has a couple of neat abilities. The one that I'm a big fan of is if at any point in time, if he's on the board and your model that's performing any of these attacks or assaults, like shooting or assaults or actions, are in the enemy's deployment, you can either add one to the vehicle damage table, which is awesome because then you can actually start blowing up tanks if you don't have AP2 or AP1. And also, he also gives you a thing where it's, I do believe, it's going off the top of my head here, but you can re-roll your sweeping advances. So that's also really cool. It comes in handy because I have recently been having a terrible time rolling dice, as you will have seen by the Path to Glory campaign. Yeah, that's been fun. It sounded like I said that sarcastically. I was saying that seriously. That it has been actually a lot of fun playing with Dave. I'm just a little salty because of the dice rolls that I've been getting through that campaign. I lost my lord. Freaking double ones. Not happy about that. I'm still bitter about that. That sucked. So, another comment was, please don't read while driving. Well, I'm not reading and driving right now. So, I think it was your wish. You got your wish there. But no, I'll figure something else out. I'm probably gonna have to start printing these out before I go on the drive, because my one solution was just, like I said, grab my iPad and go, and it seemed to work up until I decided to auto refresh, and then I lost all the comments. Bummer. Ugh. Ooh. I have a drink. Again, trying to remember off the top of my head any of the comments that I read. I am really, really enjoying your comments, guys. They're awesome, and it makes for great things to talk about while I'm driving, when I can actually read them. So, I can't think of any of the other comments off the top of my head. I'll think about them as much as I can right now, but in the meantime, I'm just gonna rant about some stuff that I can possibly think of. Ooh, here's one. I'm probably gonna start Ultramarines for 30k. Just because Matt does want us to start up a second army now, and we all kind of went with Trader right off the hop. Ooh, that was roadkill. We all went with Trader right off the hop, so like I took Alpha Legion, Steve took the Iron Warriors, and I'm running low on gas. Matt got Salamander, so he stayed Loyalist. Dave took the Sons of Horus, so obviously he went Trader. And Lee has the Emperor's Children, which they became Noise Marines. Yeah, they went Trader. So yeah, all of us except for Matt kind of went Trader there, and it makes it really, really difficult for Matt to kind of forge some narratives when it's all these Trader legions fighting each other, and then he pops up and he's the one Loyalist. So he has to kind of either fudge the timeline or find the battles where there was some remnants of these chapters that were still Loyalists. So like, for example, the one that Steve and I did where the Iron Warriors were fighting Alpha Legion for Fago 7, that was him like grasping at straws for storyline, because that was a battle where there were still some Loyalist Iron Warriors fighting the Alpha Legion. And also on top of that, it's hard for Matt to find some battles with Alpha Legion, because I think in total there's only like pre-heresy and during the heresy 8 off the top of my head. So he wants to start up Loyalist armies, and I totally took Ultramarines, because when we were initially picking the armies, it was down to, do I want Alpha Legion or do I want Ultramarines? And I literally flipped a coin and said, heads it's Alpha Legion, tails it's Ultramarines, and it came up heads. I'm like, great, I'm starting Alpha Legion, because that's how torn between the two I was. So now I get to start Ultramarines, and I'm really excited because I get to use Gulaman Reboot. I don't even know how you say his name, but their Primarch and all his neat, tricky abilities, like you can give Impeccable Advance, which is essentially objective secured, to any one unit type, or any one unit under a unit type. So for example, you could do like Land Raiders under the heavy support section. So if you have a Land Raider squadron, they all get objective secured, but you wouldn't be able to give it to Land Raiders that were dedicated transports. So I think that's really, really cool. So you can either give out Impeccable Advance, Interceptor, and I lost the third one. Yeah, it's those two that were kind of like, wow, that's really good. So that will be fun. Also, their Rite of War is neat, but the restrictions, I'm not sure how I feel about it, because some of the restrictions are like, you can't take, closing my eyes when I'm driving here trying to think of this, you can't take, I think it's like you can't take a certain type of unit without a transport, but you can't take a unit with a transport? I don't remember. It's basically you can't take a unit unless they take this certain thing, or you can't take a unit if it has a certain thing, which I know that's being incredibly vague, but it was one of those ones where I was like, that's a pretty big tax for what I'm getting, because what you pretty much get out of it is if you don't move in the movement phase, you can snap fire at Ballistic Skill 2, which is awesome. You can re-roll your runs, and you also get and it's gone. Oh, countercharge. You get countercharge. So, or counterattack, sorry. I'm thinking War Machine now. So you get counterattack, which is pretty sweet. But as much as I like that, I'm pretty sure the tax was just a little too much for me to be like, yeah, I want this. So I was looking at other things that I can get, and just Ultramarines in general. They have a special ability called Interlocking Tactics, which is awesome. There's 2 phases to it, so you can use it in the shooting phase and you can use it in the assault phase. And the way it works in the shooting phase is if you have a unit that shoots at a target, and then you have another unit shoot at that same target, the second unit, if the first unit that shot was Ultramarines, the second unit, if it's Ultramarines, gets to re-roll their ones to hit. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So I like that little feature there. And then for the assault phase, it's if at any point in time during the assault phase you are assaulting a unit that is already engaged with an Ultramarine unit, you can you must re-roll your failed charge. So I thought that was cool too. It's the wording to it is actually very vague, but also very specific in the sense that it doesn't say a lot, but by not saying a lot, it says quite a bit. For example, it basically doesn't say that you can re-roll your charge. It just says you can re-roll if you failed. So if you needed like a 7 to charge and you rolled a 7 exactly, and that means you get maybe 3 guys engaged in combat, you can't be like, oh, you know what, I'm going to re-roll it because I feel lucky and I'm going to try and hope for a 10 to get more guys engaged. No, you got a successful roll, that's what you're taking because you're now engaged in combat. So you can't re-roll successful ones, you just can only re-roll fails, and you must re-roll the fail. So if you failed, it's like, oh, that was terrible, and then you re-roll it, and basically you can't be like, oh, you know what, that's probably a good thing because of this. No, you still have to re-roll it. So I thought that was kind of neat, and just their way of being like, yeah, you kind of have to do this or this. So neat. I also like their weapons. It has a special rule called Cutting Edge, and when I read that I was like, yeah, that's awesome. It's pretty much that when you're rolling to hit, if you roll any 6s, it's automatically a wound at AP2. It's awesome and a little broken. You can also take a special troop choice, and there's no way I'm going to be able to pronounce it off the top of my head, and there's no way I'd be able to pronounce it even if I had the book in front of me and someone walking me through it. But what they get is it's basically regular Space Marines with a 2-up armor save, which already is awesome. They can all get weapons with Cutting Edge, which again is awesome, and I'm pretty sure they have full access to pretty much any weapon upgrade that a regular tactical squad would have. So just a whole lot of neat right there. But they're about 200 points for, I think it's a 5-man squad, so they're quite pricey. Still, that 2-up save, that's game changing. So definitely gonna look into getting some of them. Probably gonna have to make them all purdy. What happened to you there, bud? Okay. So that's something I'm looking forward to doing, is getting those Ultramarines started. Now I'm kind of torn because the way it works at Mini Wargaming is there's either 2 ways we can do it. We can either have the studio buy it, at which point it will be a studio army, but basically at that point the studio's buying it, so it's kind of nice in that sense. The other thing we can do is we can try and buy it ourselves, which means that we get to keep it, which is what Steve does, because Steve has a hard time not owning his armies. So that's what Steve did for his Iron Warriors, so now he's got like 4,000 points of Iron Warriors, which is ridiculous. But he bought those, and now I'm kind of torn on whether or not I just want to get a bunch of Betrayal and Kelth boxes and start building my Ultramarines from there, or if I just want to have the studio get it, and then at that point it wouldn't be like a huge delay, which I think Matt would probably prefer, because it would be coming out of my pocket, so it takes a little while for me to actually save up enough to buy larger items for it, whereas a studio can buy quite a few there because they have a dedicated thing for it. So I'm probably gonna end up doing the studio just so that I don't have to, well, not that I don't have to pay, but just that I can actually get it going right away. So that's something that I'd like to do. And I'm officially about a minute from the parking lot because I can see it from here. So on the docket for today, I actually get to dress up, full on makeup, everything like that. I will post a photo of it on Facebook for you guys. So if you don't already follow me or have me liked on Facebook, it's MWG Quirk on Facebook. Just search that. And on Twitter, it's the same thing. So at MWG Quirk, and you'll see photos of that there. Otherwise, guys, I'm officially in the parking lot. So, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little chit chat that I had, this little rant sort of. Again, I will figure out another way to get the comments working because they failed me today, and I'm sorry for that. Again, as always, with everything that you hear on YouTube, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully you guys enjoy this. I will see you tomorrow.